Starting with the intro here. My name is Eric. I am with Bobcat. I'm the demo technician, so I do demonstrations of the software program. I also do technical support tickets, so any questions you guys have, you can call or email us, and that is in the comments section as well to answer any questions you have moving forward with the software program. And to get started with the live event here, we're going over basic reasons why to upgrade to V37 and also to upgrade to the Advantage plan. So all of these options here to some of the basics to get to make BobCAD more efficient for you with the software program. And to start with efficiency, I'm going to the BobCAD website here, BobCAD.com. And down at the bottom of this page, we'll start with our system requirements. So our system requirements here, if you see the page right here down at the bottom, in the middle it says support. Down below that we have system requirements. And it will show us, on the next page, our minimum requirements on the right-hand side. Has to be a 64-bit operating system of your computer, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 1 gigabyte dedicated graphics card. Now some of the I would say some of the lower performance computers don't usually have a dedicated graphics card, so that is something to make sure of when shopping around for a computer for BobCAD and for really any other CAD software program really needs this. We also require Windows 10 or 11 now. Now over on the left-hand side, we have recommended system requirements, and we recommend 16 gigabytes of RAM or more, and also a 2 gigabyte dedicated graphics card. So double what the minimum is we have as a recommended there. Also 2 gigahertz processor or higher for the computer. And other than that, on this page up at the top, you can see we have some explanations of the products that we offer. So if you don't currently have the probing capabilities or any other module in our software program, it gives us a brief description of everything in here. If I go to probing, for example, it'll tell me the capabilities that our probing module offers in the software program here. So that's under products. Then we have our videos. We have some getting started videos. We have our BobCAD After Dark, which is a great website to show different videos on how to do any CAD modeling and 3-axis milling, some quick tips and tricks for BobCAD here. So plenty of videos on our main page here. News is a great page here which offers articles that we send out about every couple weeks here. So this one's going to be under 5-axis milling, which we're getting into with the next couple webinars here. Unlocking efficiency with 2D CAD and 2-axis CAM. So there's a lot of, I guess it really depends on what type of learner you are. If you enjoy reading the topics, you can go to the news page, and we've got plenty to read from here. If you like listening or watching as I'm going over now, we have our webinars every other Wednesday. So starting today, January 18th, and then our next one's going to be January 22nd here. Then we get to the page here at the top with our tabs. We have support, which gives us a brief description of the Advantage plans and the support site. We can go over some of the Advantage plan options here. So as I was going to go over, we offer technical support, and we also offer online training with our Advantage plan. We have a 12-month Advantage plan option, and then it goes up to 3-year Advantage plan option as well. These Advantage plan options offer technical support. So we're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can call us anytime during those hours, and you get put into a ticket system, and we call you back in a reasonable manner. I think our callback time maximum is 24 hours now. So we offer technical support where we can call you log in and answer any questions. You can call us at any time. You can leave a voicemail if we're not open during after business hours, and then we call you back next same business the next business day. And then you can also email us. And again, in the comments section, there's our contact info. Our contact info phone number is 727-489-0003, and email address is support@bobcad.com. And now so we offer technical support, and we also offer 2 hours of online training with this Advantage plan. So you could book an hour session each time or a 2-hour session each time. And with our online training, you can also send us a part file. So if there's anything, I've worked with customers that have had a PDF that they want to send in, a print, and we go through the whole session. I mean, I think that's in my downloads here as well. So with the PDF files, we can open them up and we can open a print and go through the programming of it here. I don't know if I have it in here anymore. Go through my downloads and can't remember when the last time I had a training with a PDF. But anyways, yeah, so if there's any kind of PDF you want to send in, if there's a drawing file, how to draw it, and also how to program it, if it's a 3D part file, we can go through any of those options with online training and go through your specific part file to work on that. What else do we have here? On this main page as well, you can see down at the bottom left, we have this chat bot right here. If I click on it, usually opens it up here automatically when we open up this main page here. And you can type in whatever you want right here, and it actually creates a ticket for you in our ticket system. So you can call us, you can email us, and you can also use this chat bot to create a ticket and let us know what you're working on, and we can log in and help you out from there. Let's see, trying to see if there's anything else on this BobCAD.com page that is really useful to start with. The chatbot, products and videos, news articles, and the others on the top of this page are also on our support page, which we will look at next. So up at the top, you can see we have our training options for on-site, where we could go to your facility and teach everyone there at the facility how to use the software program. We have in-house, where you could come to our location, sunny Clearwater, Florida, where it's, I think, maybe in the 60s right now, so it's not too bad. You can get away from the snow and check out how to use the software program in our office. And we also offer the online training options as well. Then the next tab over is our contact info as well, and the other options for support, which again are on our support page. So I'm going to tab over to the support page here, is BobCAD-support.com. So our main website, BobCAD.com, our support page, BobCAD-support.com. And up at the top, we have our tabs here as well. You can see up at the top a lot more support and training options on this website here, where under technical support, we have a getting started page. So gives you a brief explanation of our software program. The next one down, I really like to use the knowledge base page here. I actually use this quite frequently myself, where I can go to type in this in the search bar here, any sort of topic. So if I had questions, I know that there's one that's very consistent with our call-ins for tech support. Maybe the NC editor isn't opening for you in our software program. So if you type in NC editor, it gives you all of these different topics here, and you can see the second one down, NC editor not opening. And I can open that up, and it gives us a couple cases of troubleshooting options here. Case 1 NC editor isn't installed with the software program in the demo version of the software program. So that's a very common thing where customers initially installed the demo version of BobCAD. We don't have it in the demo version, only to try to condense the file size. So if you're running on a again a slower computer, we try to reduce the file size of the BobCAD software program for you to run. And the other one, there's a registry a registry key in the registry editor that may not be implemented. You can download that here. So there's a lot of great knowledge base articles from some of our tech support guys that have entered in a bunch of articles of frequently asked questions. The next one down, error code database. So when you're in the software program and you get some sort of error, here's the database of all the error codes we have logged. Something about the machine selected is a 3-axis machine. Select a machine that can be used for all toolpaths if you get this specific error right here in the software program. And there's many pages here. I think there's 45 entries, so 45 different error codes that are most common in the software program are found with the description right here. So under technical support, you can also request a ticket. So on this page, you can also create a ticket for technical support. Again, we call back and we can log into your computer, answer any questions you have. We have our software downloads and updates here as well. So if you have used an older version of BobCAD other than just V37, let's say before you upgraded, you also had V35 or some of our legacy versions here down below as well, you can download any software program of BobCAD and you have separate licenses of BobCAD as well. So say if you had V35 and you decided you wanted to, take a break because you have used V37 and it's working perfectly for you, but then in V37 there was something new that was necessary for you. You can download both of them, and you can even have V35 on one computer, and you can have V37 running on a separate computer at the same time. So you purchase 2 licenses, you get to use them both at the same time on your computers there. This is where we also have updates here as well. You can see on V37, we're on Service Pack 2 already, and there's usually 3 service packs for each version. We come out with a version of BobCAD around September, and within that year of updating the version, there are 2 or 3 different updates within that time if there are anything we need to work on with the software program. What else do we have under technical support? We've got a forum, which is pretty cool. You've got a lot of other users that are maybe using STL as a stock. You can go to that forum page and discuss with other BobCAD users how to do that and any ways to improve on that. So we have forum, we have frequently asked questions, and we have our system requirements page here as well. Next, we've got post processors. So that's what I'll go over next, is creating a post request and also difference between post request and post modification. So here up at the top of post processors, we have getting started with posting. It'll tell you what is a post processor, what do you need to create a post processor or modify a post processor, how to download a post processor. And we'll be getting into that right now. So under post processors, the next one down is download post processor. And right here, you can type in your customer ID. That never changes. You can select your version of BobCAD that you're using, whether it's the standalone version or one of the plugins for Rhino or SolidWorks. You'll be selecting what machine type, and we offer milling, we offer laser, plasma, water jet machines, and we also offer for lathe and wire EDM. We also offer programming for mill turn, which would be a lathe with live tooling, but we don't have it on this page right here, only because there are so many different variables, limits to the machine, station numbers for your turret for mill turn, so a lot more is going to be involved with that. and we'll be going over how to request for that machine as well. But right here, you can download from our website. Let's say we want to download a Haas mill. We go to mill, we go to Haas. You can see all the different machine types, machine makes and models in here. And I go to Haas, and I'm going to go to whether I'm using a 3-axis mill for Haas, a Haas with a 4th axis, whether it's A or B axis rotation, or a Haas mini mill. I just go to download. I open that exe file up and run it. Hit I agree and check which version I'm using of BobCAD and hit install. What's really nice with this process too is when you go into BobCAD and run a new job, you can see that that machine that I just installed is my default machine from there. Then from post processors, we can request a post processor. So request a new post processor would be if you're starting from scratch, you can send us, and you can see a video on how to do it, but you can submit a request using a PDF form. That's usually what I do. That way I can save it as a PDF locally on my computer if I need to send it again to the tech support team. And then you can see post request for a 3-axis mill, laser, plasma, waterjet, lathe, wire EDM. And then if we scroll down further, we also have them for multi-axis mills and mill turn machines. So you can see how involved this is with setting up your limits to the machine. It was actually the other page here. No, it's up at the top here. There we go. Find all the download buttons. Okay, so you download this one for a PDF to send to the tech support team for a post request for mill turn, data request, BobCAD version, name, phone number, things like that. And then you have to type in the limits to the machine in X, Y, and Z, and then also all of the different rotation axes, the station numbers on your turret for each one, and things like that. So a lot more involved with mill turn, which we also support. But then, so that is a post-processor request, a new post-processor request, which means we don't have the post-processor already available for that make and model of the machine. If we do, and there are some discrepancies in the G code, we want to add an M00 or an M01 in between each operation, we can go here to request post-processor modification, the third one down. And that way, you would be downloading a different form, and you would be putting in there, let's see, request form, notes for post-processor edits. So you give us a description, make and model of the machine, and what edits you want to the post-processor, and you would also send us a sample program of how that would be formatted, and we can make the necessary adjustments. Now, this is all included in the Advantage plan. So if you have Advantage plan, I believe with the new post processors, post requests, you get 2 post requests for 2 different machines, makes and models. Might be extra from there, but I do know that all of the post processor modifications, those are all included with the Advantage plan. Sometimes if you have mill turn machines or 5-axis angled head or something like that, it may be extra, but you just do a normal post request and post mods that is included in tech support and with the Advantage plan. I think that's it with the post processors. If you guys have any questions with what we've gone over so far or going along with the live event here, please let me know in the comment section. Up at the top here, from post processors, we go over to training. We have our Launchpad courses. Now we have some free courses, but then we also have the subscription bundle, which you can select. Now these are going to be charged unless you have the Advantage plan, which you'd have to sign in first. And then you would have these included with your Advantage plan there. And some of the free courses are some getting started videos. These are how to install the software program, going all the way down to CAD tutorial, mill tutorial, and all of those options here. Now, after that, so again, if you sign in and have the Advantage plan, you'd be able to have the free courses and the subscription bundles as well. Let me get back to the support page here. There we go. So training, Launchpad courses, those are great videos to check out to be able to, again, starting from installing the software program all the way to 3-axis, 4 or 5-axis milling. It gives you a rundown of everything in the software program there. Next, we have getting started videos, training professor series. Those are even without the subscription plan, you can view some of these training videos as well. And some of these are even more in depth, like this sign making training. It goes through BobArt, how to create. Is there a video on that? You could probably see this thing here. But the sign making training videos, it gives you the ability to view how to create a sign from BobArt. You have your image, it traces around the image and creates a drawing for you, and then how to do a V-carve operation with that. There's some more in-depth options like that in the Training Professor series. And then below that are our recorded virtual events and virtual training schedule. So the virtual training schedule is how to get to the webinars like we're on today. And the recorded virtual events are all of the videos that we have recorded from the past few years on milling, lathe, mill turn, wire EDM, BobArt, and just basic CAD videos as well. I think that's about it. Let me make sure in my notes we've gone over everything with training, downloads. Yep, everything is good there. I had written down the advantages to the Advantage plan, and then we'll see some of the new features in V37 from the older versions. So the Advantage plan, again, you can go with a 1-year subscription or a 3-year subscription, and the price is locked in for each of the 3 years. It includes technical support, which is an annual cost if you are not on the Advantage plan, and that offers, for the whole year. You can call in as many times as you want, unlimited call-ins for technical support, for us to log in and answer any questions you have with the software program, with anything in terms of drawing, programming in 2-axis, 3-axis, and above, and anything with post processors as well. Training, it also includes 2 hours of online training, and that is when you go to the Advantage plan, you need to book that within 90 days so that we can get you on the schedule and get you going there. Now we can go to the software program itself, BobCAD V37 here, and we can take a look at some of the new options. A couple of things that I like straight from V36 to V37. When I go into any selection options, like say I have a 2D square here, and I go to Create 3D and go to Extrude Boss, you can see, well, you can't see yet. I gotta move myself over here. There we go. So you can see now up at the top right, we have this picking manager. In V37 and the older versions, every time we go into picking manager, it's on automatically. Now, it saves that option. If I don't want to use auto connection, I can leave it unchecked for every time afterward. And so that's a small one, but really helpful, because I usually don't use picking manager but it can be really helpful for selecting surface edges, chain selecting around a solid model. But if we're getting into drawing like this, I usually don't use that, so I usually keep it unchecked. What else do we have? Rotating. So if I have my 2D square and I translate it over, I can rotate this other than just the CAD origin location here. So if I go to Utilities, I go to Rotate, I select my drawing. Now we have the geometry center here, or sorry, we have the selected geometry, which is X0, Y0, Z0, or geometry center over on the left-hand side, which is the center of the drawing. So if I rotate it around 45 degrees, you can see it rotates right around from the center of the drawing. If I don't have that turned on, it rotates it from the CAD origin location, which sometimes I don't want to do that. So really useful stuff with that. That way you can rotate exactly how you want to and move it around in the drawing to exactly how you want to place parts in a sheet like this to get the most efficient way of cutting them out. And we'll go into some of the options in the of any of the older versions into V37 that can be really useful. We'll take a look at basically just the new user interface here. This was a jump from version 30 to the newer versions. You can see this ribbon bar layout up at the top. So you can see our home page, create 2D, where we have our 2D drawing options here. Create 3D for our extrude boss and our extrude cut to create a 3D model. We have our utilities, again, to translate, rotate, mirror the drawing. Some newer options are scaling and align. I like using scaling a lot if we're creating a larger or a smaller 3D model here. Select the solid and the scale factor here. Let's say I only want it 10% larger of what it was. I would just type in 1.1 to make it 110% of what it was originally. And then we also have align. That can be really useful where if I want to line up this CAD origin location with my solid model, it's very similar to creating a new machine setup, but this is going to be in the CAD coordinates as well, where I can select an origin location. Let's say I want this top corner right here of the part to be my CAD origin location now. I just click on that as my origin location. I can click on a point as my X direction. I can click on a point as my new Y direction, and then click OK. And then now it moves everything in relation to to that new coordinate system. And that can be really helpful if you're importing files from other CAD software programs and things are all shifted over. You can change your CAD origin location for everything in the drawing from there. Then we've got our Evaluate tab. Auto dimensioning is an option that I really like now in the newer version, and I usually show it better if we've got a drawing like this here where we've got an angled line here. And I go into Evaluate, go into Auto dimensioning, and so when I select a line, I can get the horizontal distance, the vertical distance, the total distance depending on where I move my cursor. And if I click on an arc or a couple points, it understands how to dimension it, where my dimensions are going to be. Now I think that is going to be like the distance between the two. That's what's happening there. I can deselect the options here and maybe click on a couple points, and it will tell me the distance between the two. So I don't have to go into all the different dimension options now. I can just go into auto and pick that up. A note feature is in some of the newer versions. I think that started in either 33 or 34 up to 37 now. And I can type in any text and I can create a leader line with the note I wanted to add in the drawing. That can all be helpful if I want to create a print. I'm going to translate the drawing over and move it over here in the first quadrant. And I can merge one of our template files that we have preloaded in the software program. So if I go to the top and I go to File and I go to Merge, I can merge a second file into this original file here. I go to this PC, I go to C drive, BobCAD-CAM data, V37, and examples, and title blocks. And each of these files are preloaded in the software program, and they each have a border for the drawing and title blocks for revision number, sheet number, those kinds of options here. So great way to create a print in BobCAD. You can save it as a DXF drawing and send it to any other CAD software program from there. The other options in here would be that I like to show over in CAD, and then we'll get into CAM, some newer features in V37, and then answer any questions that you guys may have in the comment section there. So I'm going to make this a 3D model again here. And when I have a 3D model like this, I can go to Evaluate, and we have this Measure 1 and Measure 2 entities options up at the top. Measure 1 would allow me to select maybe a surface edge or a point on some of the surfaces of the solid, and it would give me the radius of this arc, for example. I can also pick the solid. So with this checkbox Pick Solid turned on, I can pick a solid. It will give me the area and volume of the solid. And if the solid is manifold, which means if the solid is stitched together correctly. And also Measure 2, where I can pick a point and pick another point anywhere and get the X, Y, Z, and total distance of those 2 points there. So a lot of newer options in a lot of great options in the newer versions that aren't in the older ones, especially the Measure 2 can show me the distance between the two measures, solid to pick up area and volume. Options like noting the drawing and creating a print like this, all in the newer option, all in the newer versions here. Now we'll get into the CAM side of things as well, and I'm just going to open up a part file to work on this one here as well. And again, if we're working on a drawing like the two we just saw, or working on a 3D model like this, with online training, you can send us the 3D model and we can show you how to program it from there. So just some basic options in 3-axis milling here for any curved surfaces like this. We can go to start from scratch here. In the newer version, just like in the older ones, we can go to the CAM tree and we can right click on CAM defaults and go to a new job. We can also do it from the ribbon bar layout up at the top under the CAM tab and go to a new job. And here's my Haas mini mill that I installed from our support site for any new post processors. I go to the stock wizard next, and I can define a workpiece. So if I have a finished 3D model, I can select that here. If I don't have a 3D model to view in simulation, I can just skip this page, and then we can define our initial stock that we're starting with here in blue. I can type in X, Y, and Z dimensions of my stock. And then my last page is defining my machine setup. This is where I'm defining my work offset at. So it starts right here at the CAD origin location. If I'm not able to touch the tools off there or use a probing tool to touch off at that corner, just like with the align feature, I can go to the origin option on the left side and click on a new origin location for my machine setup for my G54 work offset. I just clicked on the corner at the top left of the stock there, and then I can change my X, Y, and Z directions here as well, and click OK. Then we go to some of the 3-axis stuff in the newer versions that can be really useful. I right-click on Machine Setup 1, go to Mill 3-axis, select my geometry, and select a boundary. So I'm going to select the 3D model as my geometry. This I'm going to go over. I always go over with 3-axis milling. We always select the full 3D model as the geometry, and then we select a boundary to contain the toolpath inside of. So instead of like in the 2-axis milling, we're just selecting geometry. We're not selecting the whole thing. We're just selecting a profile to go around or a pocket to cut inside of. With the 3-axis milling, we're selecting the full 3D model and then containing toolpath inside of a specific boundary. And the reason for that is because if we had any kind of boss on the 3D model, or maybe we're working off of with a vise, we can also select that geometry and make sure the toolpath avoids that so that there's no collisions at all. So it's just a great safety feature to have, to select the full geometry of the 3D model. And then for my boundary, I can select individually each of these surface edges. If it's wireframe that I'm selecting, I can chain select by holding Shift and clicking. But with the surface edges, I can right click on one of these edges here. I can go to constant Z. That's our chain selection, basically. It's going to chain select everything that's touching that surface edge in a constant Z location, since everything is in Z0 at that location around the bottle shape there. It's going to chain select it. If I right click on the surface edge again, you can also see loop selection. Now loop selection has all of these edges highlighted here. You can see all the way around the outside, and also you can see some of these right here. This one's highlighted and this one's highlighted. So really what it's asking right here is my loop selection. Am I trying to select this surface right here, the chain selection around those edges, or the chain selection around these edges? Since I want it around these edges, I'm going to select any other edge around that chain selection there. There we go. So that's my geometry and my boundary. Hi, Eric. Thank you for joining the webinar today. Glad everybody's watching live. Please let me know if you guys have any questions that we're going over today, and I'm more than happy to answer anything that you guys have there. So we have our rapid plane, feed plane, top of feature. Those are some options that have been around for a long time. I started with BobCAD with V29, and I know some of the older versions I've used 19 and 20 a handful of times, and some of the older version 20, 21, 20 up to 29, and they all have the same layout. So that's a really nice part of upgrading from any of the older versions to version 37 here, is that you have the same workflow. You select your top of feature, rapid plane, feed plane, how it's rapiding across the material, and then your machining strategy. We're going to do some of these 3-axis pro toolpaths down at the bottom here. I'm going to select advanced rough, and then we'll get into finishing this as well. We'll do an advanced planar option. From our available operations on the right hand side, I add that into our current operations list. Go to our next page. We have our work offset, number 1 being G54, number 2 being G55, 56, 57, and so on. If we're doing multiple work offsets at the table, if we can fixture multiple pieces of stock and do more than one piece of stock at the same time to mill those out. We have a standard UI and advanced UI in the 3-axis Pro now. A couple things that I like in the advanced UI, it's just like in the 3-axis Premium, where you can select your surface paths, your machining surfaces that you're machining, and your boundary here under 2D containment. On the right-hand side that I really like with the advanced UI and also in 3-axis Premium, but it's also in 3-axis Pro here now, where you can type in your maximum step over, or you can define it based on your cusp height. So in the past, in older versions, you would have to type in your specific step over right here, go into simulation, make sure everything is cut to size in 3-axis. If it's not cut to size, if there's still too much material remaining, not the right cut tolerance that you want, you can go here. You would have to go into the step over, set a little bit smaller of a step over, go back into simulation, make sure that's what you want. Here in the 3-axis Pro now, in the advanced UI, you can set your step over based on your desired cusp height. So let's say we want to get down to a cusp height or a scallop height of 1 thou. So I'll type in 1 thou under cusp height, and now you can see the step over change accordingly. So I don't have that guesswork in simulation anymore. I can just type it in here and make sure that I have the right surface finish that I want. Other than that, you can see all of the same kinds of options as in your 3-axis premium here. Your direction of your cutting method, one way, zigzag back and forth, or spiral toolpath. You have your tool axis control. So if you have multi-axis, you could do it in 4 or 5 axis here for roughing. You have a gouge check page, just like in the 3-axis Pro. You have your selecting your geometry and making sure that your tool and your tool holder doesn't gouge into your workpiece. Linking for each step over. Roughing options here. You can set your stock definition if you want to expand your stock a little bit larger, or if you want to select a 3D model as your initial stock that you're starting with. And utility for setting rapid feed rate and miscellaneous options like that here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click OK, and I'm just going to go back to the standard UI. The standard UI is the same kind of workflow as in you're working in the older versions, setting up your tool, adding all of your tools here from your tool library, and making a tool crib here as well. On the tool crib, you can save the tool crib here, name it whatever you need, and then you can import it again afterward for any of your specific tool categories. So you've got your end mill rough category here. You can keep hitting save and just overriding the tool crib. It's not going to get rid of the older tools. It's just going to keep adding to your tool crib from there. And then you can import it for your next milling job. Then we've got our cut patterns. Parallel would just go back and forth across the pocket there. Offset out would start from the center and work our way to the walls of the pocket. Offset in would start from the walls of the pocket and work our way in. And then we have our high-speed machining options, morph, spiral, and adaptive roughing, where the tool can start at the center here, spiral its way out, keeping constant tool engagement the whole time. And you can see these linking moves here in yellow, where the tool will retract at a fraction of an amount and then wrap it to the next location, and just sort of that's your tricoidal milling options there. If you're doing one directional cutting, if you're doing zigzag, it's just going to zigzag back and forth inside of the pocket the whole time. Depth of cut and step over amount. Our allowance option, how much material we want to leave behind for our finished pass to clean up. If we want to plunge, ramp, or spiral into the material entering into the stock. If there is an opening to this pocket here, and I want to start from the outside of the stock and work my way in with the side of the tool, I can uncheck this box center cutting tool, and the software will detect any openings, and the tool path will have the tool start from the side of the stock, work its way in with the side of the tool rather than plunging down in. And then our next page, let's see, we have rest machining. This is all in the 3-axis Pro here. So if I had a previous roughing operation with a larger tool, I can set the previous tool diameter and corner radius. The software will calculate any areas the previous tool couldn't fit into and calculate just that tool path. So essentially it's going to start right where we left off from the previous operation and avoid any air cutting with this option. Linking for each step over. Again, our gauge check page. Now here's where we get into some of the features in V37 in the newer versions that are really useful. The advanced feed rates. A couple of the options here at the top, convert rapid moves to feed moves, would be if I'm unable to set a rapid rate at the controller, I can change the rapid moves to feed moves and change the rate here. I can change the feed rate where it's linking between groups of geometry to speed up that process. And I also have an adaptive feed rate option here. So this is sort of like a look ahead option. I can set a minimum and a maximum feed rate here. And let's give the feed rate of this roughing operation, let's say 100 inches per minute and 50 inches per minute plunging. But we're looking at that 100 inches per minute cutting feed rate. And if I go back to the adaptive feed rates here, and I have it set to 10%, it's going to go anywhere between that 10% mark to the normal cutting of 100 inches per minute. So anywhere between 10 inches per minute to 100 inches per minute. And when it gets into larger material at a time, like into these corners, the software will calculate how slow the tool needs to move to keep a constant chip load, and that can reduce chattering at the machine. So you'll see in the G code when we post this, at every feed move into any corners that we have of my stock, if there's more material to be machined per tooth of the tool, it's going to slow it down to keep a constant chip load. And then we have a maximum feed rate here as well. So if we get on the outside of the stock like this and less material to be removed, it will speed up the feed rate as well. Again, keeping a constant chip load the whole time. And then here in our newest version, we also have MDI. This stands for manual data input. If I wanted to add any various GRM codes on my own. In the feature here, if I wanted to add a certain feed rate or a certain work offset, I can set that here. Let's say before a tool change, I want to add anything I want by going to raw text. Go to before tool change here, and then click on this add command button right here. I can type in any raw text that I want, or if I want it to just be a comment, I can click on this comment button. I can type in test comment, and that will be added in the G code before this operation, before this tool change in this operation, with parentheses before and after the text I typed in here. And then we go to our next page. Again, we've got our standard user interface or advanced user interface that we went over earlier. Set up our tool. Make it maybe what do we have for the roughing? Let's do a 1/2 inch flat end mill for the roughing. Let's do a 1/4 inch ball end mill for the finish operation. It's usually what I have set with this demo file. We go to our next page where we can go one directional cutting, zigzag back and forth for the planar toolpath for a finish operation. We have these up and down options. I don't usually use them, but could be kind of useful, I guess, if we're starting from the bottom of the stock and working our way up to the top of the stock and sort of overlapping each time. Or starting from the top of the stock, working our way down, overlapping each time. I usually have it set to zigzag, and then we can set our lace angle, which would be the angle direction that we're cutting. 90 degrees would go back and forth along the y-axis. If I set it to 0, it'll go back and forth along the x-axis. And I can do anything between 0 and 360. For example, if I set it to 45, it'll do a 45-degree angle diagonal cut back and forth like this. We'll go to our next page. Step over options for the finish operation. Lead in, lead out options. A rest machining option where you can see it picks up the previous tool automatically and would cut from there. Anything remaining. Linking for each step over. Our gouge check page. Our advanced feed rates, converting rapid moves to feed moves. Again, setting the feed rate for our lead in and our lead out, and also a corner slowdown option here as well. And then our MDI page. So I'll hit compute. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments section. We went over some great stuff today about, I have to look at my notes of all we went over. We went to BobCAD.com to view our to view our we went to BobCAD.com. We viewed the system requirements that is needed for BobCAD. We saw the chatbot to be able to submit a ticket on this page. And there are some news articles in here of different things that are going to be implemented in BobCAD and other modules that you can take a look on. Great training material here. Even better training material on BobCADSupport.com, where you found this webinar here. Under the training tab, you have the virtual training schedule, which is where we go through the webinars like we have today, and they are done every other Wednesday. So the next one is going to be on the 22nd. And if we go to recorded virtual events, those are these here from previous virtual events that we did, previous webinars, mill, lathe, CAD, all those kinds of things. What else did we have here? On the BobCAD support page, plenty of training material. We have technical support where you can request a ticket. You have a knowledge base articles where you can search for different knowledge base articles of previous frequently asked questions. Post processors where you can download a post processor or request a post modification, and also downloads where you can download any previous software programs and also download the newest service pack here. This one just came out November 19th, so if you haven't done any updating with BobCAD recently, I suggest updating V37. And that's about it with the two pages here, BobCAD.com and BobCADSupport.com. And I also went over the Advantage plan, which includes technical support, where we're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And we log into your computer, answer any questions that you guys may have moving forward. And we also offer training, included 2 hours of online training that you can send us a part file beforehand, and we can work on it on how to get started with BobCAD. Then we went over some of the neat features here in the V37, newer options to optimize your toolpath. We'll take a look at the simulation real quick here with the roughing and finish. Couple newer upgrade options in here, and then we can take a look at the G-code as well with the adaptive feed rate and things that I modified in there too. So under the simulation, we hit run. We've got the roughing in here, and then the finish pass going back and forth. Now I left the step over of this planar toolpath very large, of 100 thou. Now I can see it pretty plainly here, but if I want to make sure that everything is cut to size, I can go down to the bottom right of this, and I got to move myself over to be able to see this for you guys. So down at the bottom right corner of simulation here, we have this analysis tab, and I can go to the drop down under analysis and go to deviation and hit this refresh button. It will load different colors on the stock depending on how much material is remaining. And I can see this, everything in green is cut to size with a cut tolerance of plus or minus 8 thou. With these colors here, the lightest blue color is 8 thou to 26 remaining. The darkest blue color is 64 or more remaining in the corners here. So if I want a better cut in the corners, probably want to use a smaller tool, but to get a better surface finish, again, I can go back to the planar toolpath, go to the step over option, and change it to like maybe 20 thou from there. So great way to go into simulation, make sure everything is cut to size before we run it on the machine. Once everything's looking good, we can hit post. It will generate the G-code on the right-hand side, and I'm going to search for my test comment right here under line number 9 here. So that was where I typed it in under the MDI page for the test comment there. One other thing that I can think of in the newer versions that's really useful is the toolpath editor. So if I right click on an operation like this, I can go to edit toolpath, that's halfway down, And let me do it in the roughing because I'll know where should be able to know where the entry point is here. So the entry point's right here. And so if I want to change that entry point, I can right click on Advanced Rough. I can go to Edit Toolpath, and I can go here instead of deleting anything. I can move the toolpath any which way I want. And I've got to find where it is now again. I think it's right here. Nope, right here. There it is. So rapid move, feed move. I can change those entry moves right there by typing in a certain amount I want to move it, or I can drag it over and just click on the toolpath and move it over however far I want. And then I can type it in after the fact. Let's say I want to move it over 3 inches in X, 0 inches in Y, and 0 inches in Z. So if I had an opening, again, if I had an opening to the side of the pocket here, I can click OK. And now if I backplot it, that's how it would start into the stock from there. Now you can see that the toolpath for Advanced Rough, it's locked with this lock icon, and it's in red, meaning that it has been modified manually like I just did with the toolpath editor. So to bring it back to its original state, I have to first unlock it. It's locked just because, if we go in and compute the toolpath with it unlocked, it's going to revert back to the normal. So BobCAD thinks, hey, maybe you want to keep these changes for some reason with the toolpath editor. If I want to go back to the original, I right-click on the operation and go to Lock Unlock Operation. And then once I recompute the toolpath, it will turn back white instead of red, saying that it's back to normal. So those are some of the great features that I know of in the version 37 from the older versions that can be really useful. Some other things maybe I think I'll go over one more thing that I can think of and answer any questions that you guys may have in the comment section, and then we'll finish up for today. If I do a whole lot of milling operations and I want to create a template milling job for the next drawing that I have open, so I don't have to recreate this advanced rough and advanced planer every single time, I can right click on the milling job and I can go to Save as Job Template, which is right here, about a little over halfway down. Save as Job Template. And I'm going to name it, I've got so many in here now, I'm going to name it Webinar. So every time I go into that webinar template, it's going to have that advanced rough and advanced planer in there every single time. So I don't have to create those features and create set up all of those parameters. They're all going to be saved by default. So I go to a new file, I go to CAM, and instead of going to a new job from scratch, I'm going to go to Job from Template. I'm going to select that template file here, Webinar. Go to the stock wizard where I'm defining my stock for this file here and my machine setup. And then you can see everything is populated here from my template file, my advanced rough, where it has that 1/2 inch flat end mill that I'm using for the roughing, the adaptive roughing, the depth of cut and step over. These are all saved from the job template. So you can save a few job templates in there and be able to run things from there. So you don't have to recreate a new job every single time. A lot of saved options there. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comment section. More than happy to answer anything that you have moving forward. Today was just a rundown of some of the options in V37 that could help you decide on upgrading to V37, as well as getting on with the Advantage plan, which offers the tech support and online training, post-processor modifications that can help you moving forward with the software program. So I'll hang back a few seconds later, see if you guys have any questions. Don't see any questions yet. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And I want to thank everyone for viewing the webinar live today. We went through benefits of upgrading to V37 and benefits of the Advantage plan option there. And again, our next webinar is going to be on January 22nd. It's every other Wednesday. And we don't have a specific topic on hand yet, but we send an email with the survey and make sure we have the right webinar, that it's tailored to exactly what you want to go over there. So thanks again for viewing the webinar live today, and hope to see you in the next one. See ya.